So we're looking for the worry card right now. Worry card. What I've got here, worry card, which is a decline through support to meet a second support, and then you rotate along that support. I'm not seeing it yet. It also falls in line with this decline. This is a reverse clairvoyant anchor. It tells me of a decline, as well as we have the sideways fluidity along a support level as the change card in the closed position. So if we don't see that drop, I'm gonna expect it tomorrow morning. I'll expect a gap down. And what I am banking on, I have some 350 puts that expire on the 27th for SPY. For those of you on TikTok, we're live on YouTube right now, looking at the S&P 500 live chart in relation to the tarot spread that I placed for today. So I got a few 350 SPY puts that expire on the 27th of June. I'm looking to sell those tomorrow morning. And I've got a 368 put expires on the 24th. I'm looking to sell that tomorrow morning as well. Low correlator, trade opportunity first thing. Off the high, this is a decline card for the trade. Yeah, and we're already at 340, so I'm going to expect a downturn here just at the end of the day. When we look at the overview, so we have the change card for the 22nd, right? And that's also, it's interesting placement to find it here at the close at the end of the day for the 21st. Price level there, so that's going to be a price level. If we do finish at a high, that may be the price level tomorrow that we play around with. However, I really do expect there to be a little bit of a decline here. I've got those 350 puts at 30. What I got them at 33 cents, so just a little bit underwater, like $17 right now. This is the last week of the readings that I conducted when we were already under the influence of Mercury retrograde. I really didn't have much of a choice based on what was transpiring in my living situation. And they're just frustrating. They're really difficult to read. I hate to do. I always do all of the dates that are within a Mercury retrograde. I always do the predictions for those and have them completed and posted well before the retrograde period starts, because otherwise it gets really, it's not that you're wrong, it becomes difficult. There's a lot of contradictory information and whatnot. So I've had some pretty bad readings. I think there was like 2 or 3 days, not consecutively, but 2 or 3 days in June that were really, really awful. And that's the result of Mercury retrograde, guys. The thing is real. It really does impact. You guys want to see? I'll point this out for you guys again. All right, so we have the Mercury retrograde dates. 4/26 is when it started, so I'm going to put a vertical line there. This is when the pre-shadow started, not the actual retrograde, but it's when we enter the part of the sky that is affected, that is effectively like traveled through 3 times during one retrograde period. That was, what did I say, the April 26th. All right, so that's when the pre-shadow started. It officially went retrograde on May 5th, or May 10th, excuse me. So that's that between these two verticals right here, guys, is that's basically what transpired in the first portion, the first shadow of retrograde. We had some back and forth sideways behavior and then a sharp drop at the end, right? So then we have the body of retrograde where we're going through the sky a second amount of time, and it's almost like a reverse. We have a pop higher and then sideways movement. It's like the reverse of the shadow pattern. The retrograde officially ended on June 6th. right? So that was the body of retrograde there. And you can see we had a pop higher, and then here in the last phase, it ended the post shadow, or the third time that the planet goes through the same area of the sky during one retrograde, ended on the 18th of June. And look at that, guys. Sideways, sharp drop. Sideways, sharp drop. That's retrograde, my friends. What happens in the post shadow repeats itself in the pre shadow, and you have to take into consideration it's not going to be exact. We're talking about energetic influences, but more importantly, and this is a tricky thing that they've done, is it's rather difficult to pick up a pattern based on a planetary signature, utilizing only weekdays. Right, the weekends, the planet's still doing stuff, and those weekends don't line up the same way. So you can have some variation, but for the most part, you can really bank on what happens in the first shadow will transpire in the second shadow. We have our next retrograde on 8/20, or the pre-shadow starts on 8/20, and the influence of the post-shadow ends in October, mid-October. So it's coming up, guys. Wow, that was a really short amount of time between them, if you ask me. But it's cool because there's a huge opportunity in there once you understand that it's things that happen on one end of retrograde repeat themselves on the other end of retrograde. I learned this very, very long time ago, well before I found the pattern with it in the stock market. It was a theory when I'd already known in the real world, if something transpires like on the day of retrograde influence, or like on station, or somewhere within like the pre-shadow, you'll see it again on the post-shadow. The same situation, to revisit it, you'll revisit the same person, the same issue. Maybe it like completes itself. A problem started, problem fixed. Things like that. And it just makes sense that you would see the same thing happen on a stock chart, because it really influences travel. Which, if you consider price movement, you could consider that travel, a form of travel, energy transference. Travel, electronics, and communication. Those are the three areas governed by Mercury. So, of course, the stock market is affected, but on a profound level that they don't want you to know. If they even found it. I mean, you have to look at these. The weekends, my friends, can really throw off when you're looking for a pattern in the stock market utilizing astrology. Alright, guys, so we're having a little bit of a pullback here. I want to see more, though. I want to see us break through support. Oh, and I also marked off, for those of you that are joining us, I marked off this price level here, 375-ish, as the peace card for 621. Should come in as an important price level at some point moving in the future. Yeah, and then for tomorrow, guys, the star card actually appears here towards the end of the day. It's the sneak preview card, giving it more weight, if you will, in the reading. High tomorrow, there's a fake out around the high, sideways fluctuation. So this might be a fake out right here, where it's looking like we're going higher. We should have if that's the case, we'll really have a gap down there overnight. Ugh, I hate retrograde. So only one more week of these, and then the timing will be much more accurate. You'll see the July stuff that's come out and the July stuff that's coming out is like I was on point, mentally speaking, when I did those. So those should be great. All right, guys. I guess that's it. I gotta get running. I'm looking for that drop. I'm hoping for that drop. Reason being is that we have At the high, we have a Princess of Wands, which is an opportunity within a rally to open up a short position or to buy puts or protect against long positions in the midst of a rally. This is obviously a rally, right? It's in the high correlator position, meaning that the opportunity to open puts or protect against long positions, it's taking place at the high of the day, which makes logical sense, right? And then we had high correlator and a high correlator here towards the end of the day. So low, look at that, low at the beginning of the day, right around the open. So we had a low right here early in the day. Our first high, early out of that low, we met our first high. So you could say right here from the low to the high. Then we had the actual piece price level that became highlighted. And I think maybe if I put it in a 1 minute chart, it'll be a little bit more relevant here. But you can see this price level right here, 375. It's kind of like it's forming something here, if you will. We've got tap tap, tap 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 tap, right? So, I mean, that's basically why I'm on the short end. It's tricky. I mean, it's tricky next couple of days, because what I'm seeing on the overview is definitely bullish. However, the 23rd could be, I mean, based on here, if it lines up perfectly, the 23rd should be two declines with an incline in it, and further decline on the 24th. But that remains to be seen. We have a high correlator there, so a prominent crest that forms. That forms. We're on point, guys. I mean, we might have been off a day, give or take a little bit, but as far as the overall pattern of behavior, I mean, we nailed it. We have a high and a high. It's actually on the 2nd and the 7th, right? So in here a little bit, I was a little bit late on the first one, but we have highs and then to a low. On the low, we were off, I believe, a day for the low, 15th, 16th. So we were just slightly off, but you have that definite prominent trough that forms, and then at the end of the week we should have a prominent crest that forms, following suit with the remainder of the June 2020 one month overview reading. All right, guys, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate the support. Channel's growing. Really appreciate you guys spreading the word, sharing with your friends, and subscribing and liking and all that. And if you want to see more of this type of stuff, guys, be sure to make sure you actually hit that like button. That's how I know. Most importantly, though, guys,